Okay, hello everyone. This is Vicky Verley, the rock and roll prophetess. I'm coming at you today to do something a little different. Since the death of James Gandolfini, The Sopranos have been playing. I've been watching it again, and it's one of the great TV shows of all time, and it has some iconic characters. And I got to wondering to myself, I'm like, oh, I wonder what sign these different characters of the soprano characters are. And I was looking around on the internet and I did find one message board, and I did try to sign up for it, but I wasn't able to sign up for it. You know how that can be. So I thought I'd do a video about my guess, I guess you could say, how I see the different characters in The Sopranos as their astrology sun signs. So I had to go by just their personalities and not the way they look, which was difficult because normally if I'm, looking at somebody, by looking at them, you can often see a lot about, what sign they are or what sign they look like. So I try to keep, that was different. I had to just keep it to the personality, not by the way they look. And so here it goes. Here's my little take. I thought it might be fun. And if any of you have differing opinions or the same opinion or want to add on to it, please feel free to leave some comments. Okay, let's start with the man himself, Tony Soprano. I think that Tony is a Gemini. He's got that gift of gab. He's got like that jokester, that quick wit, and it's not just telling jokes, he's he was with Metal's college friends, and he could hang with them, and he was like cracking jokes, and he, at the club, he saw Metal at the club one time, so he has this youthful, and he can relate to the youth, but he's just quick wit. He's very witty. Also, because of the dual nature of his life, he's definitely got two, lives going on. Whether it's because he's with his wife and he has affairs on the side, or he tries to present himself as a legitimate businessman, and really he's, doing all these other things on the side. So there's that duality of the Gemini, and just the way he's so witty, and he's also analytical. That's a Gemini thing in the mind. So, for my best estimate, I would say that Tony Soprano is a Gemini. Okay, I want to move on to the main women in his life, starting with his wife, Carmela. Now, a lot of people on that message board were saying, oh, she's a Cancer because she's so home and family. No, I think Carmela is a Leo. She's the queen bee. She wants the best of everything. She's very status oriented. And Leos dote on their children, too. They definitely do. And then there's that, she's always got all the jewelry and everything. That's all Leo, Leo, Leo. The big hair, that's definitely all Leo. Also, that episode where she has the party at her home and she's doing that motion with her hand to the servant, that is totally a Leo. I'm sorry, that is Leo. So I feel like Carmela is a Leo. Okay, let's move on to the other women in Tony's life, starting with Dr. Melfi. Now, I feel Dr. Melfi, hands down, is a Scorpio. She's got that deep, she delves deep. But it's not only that. She has this calmness. She's not easily shaken. Even the times that he's gone off at her in the office, she just remains calm and centered and looks him right in the eye. She's not scared. She wasn't afraid to take him on as a client, as many other, therapists were. At different times when he tried to go to another therapist, they're like, no way, I'm not going to treat you. And she was not scared off by him. That's Scorpio. Scorpio will look you right in the eye, and they're not going to back down. Also, this smoldering sexuality thing, that's definitely Scorpio, too. Not overtly sexual necessarily, but, even Tony finds her irresistible. And that's that Scorpio energy. So, to my best estimate, I would say Dr. Melfi is a Scorpio. Okay, let's look on to the next woman in Tony's life, which is his sister Janice. Now, Janice is such a free spirit and the traveler, and I would say that Janice is a Sagittarius. She's so lighthearted. She's traveled all over. She's spiritual. She's had many relationships. She doesn't, it's not all about, I want to marry a man for status. I want to, get married and have the white picket fence. Janice is more of a free spirit. And I would say that Janice is definitely a Sagittarius. Okay, next person in Tony's life, the women, of course, his mother, Livia. Now, she was only in the very first few episodes, or first few seasons. But she in Tony's life, she's definitely an important figure. Now, I would say Livy is definitely a Scorpio as well, but I feel like she's the lower Scorpio energy. She's the stinging, the plotting, the revengeful, the holding a grudge. Nobody can hold a grudge like a Scorpio. A Scorpio can hold a grudge forever, and that's definitely her. And also, I've seen this type of women. I've seen Scorpio women who are still trying to manipulate their grown children, and that's definitely like a Scorpio thing. And then when confronted about it, they're like, who, me? So next we can move on to the men in Tony's life, starting with his uncle, Junior Soprano. Now, I had a little bit of trouble with Junior trying to peg him, but I finally settled on as I feel like he's a Leo too. He's very prideful. He would sooner go to jail than admit he was duped when they were actually, he was named captain, but he was named the boss, but they were running things behind his back. His pride stopped him from, he would rather go to jail than admit that he was there. So very prideful. That's Leo. Also, he's kind of a ladies' man. He spoils his women, and again, he had that girlfriend, and then they found out about their sex life, and his pride, he dumped her because of pride, but he was very doting and spoiling of her while they were together. Thirdly, at these different family gatherings, often Junior will break out into song and sing, and the performer. So I think with those things taken into account, I'm going to say that I feel like Junior is a Leo. Next in the crew, guys, also family, is Mr. Christopher Moltisanti, Tony's nephew. Now, hands down, I feel like Tony, Christopher is a Pisces, and I had to try to not get that looks thing in because he's got those big eyes like the Pisces too. But that set aside, not taking into account the looks. I mean, Pisces, the substance abuse, that's definitely Piscean, but also his interest in movies and film. That's Neptune, and also he had a lot of fantasies, about Tony and his dad. He put them up on pedestals, and he had sort of not a realistic view of any of those men. And then when he got off drugs, he kind of sees them for who they truly are. And he even says, let's just face it, my dad was, a junkie or something. When he gets sober, he's out of the fantasy. So I would say that Christopher is definitely a Pisces. Okay, let's look on to the rest of the crew. Next in line, let's look at Polly Gautieri. Now, I think, hands down, Polly has got to be a Virgo. I mean, he's single, but also his cleanliness and his groom thing. He's always so well groomed, and he's always washing his hands, and he doesn't want to step in men's room, and he's always concerned about his health, and he's kind of a medical hypochondriac. And one of the times they showed his house where he was packing for the trip, and you open his closet, and everything's just perfect, and he's got all his shoes are all the same and polished and everything, and you see him steam cleaning steaming his clothes, to get the wrinkles out and everything. That is Virgo all the way. So I think Virgo is the only conclusion you can draw with Polly. Okay, let's look on to the next person in Tony's crew, and that's Silvio. Now, Silvio, I feel like he's a Capricorn because he's a businessman. He's a man of few words. He's very serious. And also he's chauvinistic. And I'll tell you, that is a thing about Capricorn men. They can be very chauvinistic, and they think of women just as sex objects. I mean, of course, not in all cases, but the negative side of Capricorn men can be very chauvinistic and very kind of looking down at women or thinking women of objects. And seeing as though Silvio owns the strip club, I think that would suit him well, along with the other things that I had mentioned. Okay, let's go on to more crew members. What about Bobby Bacalari, who ended up later in the series ended up marrying Janice? I feel like Bobby is a Taurus. He's very fixed. He doesn't say much, and he stays loyal. He stayed with Junior, even though he was kind of Junior's little errand boy and everything. He stayed loyal to the family. He's family oriented. He's love of food, obviously, but also he is an outdoorsman. He knows hunting and camping and those sorts of things, and that all falls under the sign of Taurus. Okay, another man in the crew, we're going to look at Tony Blundetto, who was Tony's cousin, who had done time in jail and was released and was part of the crew for a season or two. Now, Tony Blundetto, I would feel this was also kind of a hard one because he's very intelligent and in his mind, and I was almost going to say Aquarius, but then I changed my mind and I feel like he is a Cancer. Because he's a healer, he was doing the massage therapy, he loves his children, and also he can be kind of crabby and moody and like sort of bitchy, and that's Cancers. They can be like that. They can get on that little cantankerous. They're moody for sure. So I finally settled on Tony Blundetto as a Cancer. Okay, another guy that was in the earlier episodes was Big Pussy or Puppy Bumpin' Cereal. And again with Pussy, I feel him as a Capricorn. He's very chauvinistic. Also, the fact that he had back problems. That's, Saturn and Capricorn often have back problems. And he's also kind of a cold. He's unable to express his emotions. When his wife was sick or thought she had breast cancer or whatever, he was very cold and didn't really know how to comfort her or what to do. And that can be like the negative side of Capricorn as well. Okay, the last person I'm going to look at from Tony's crew, we're going to take a look at Ralph Cifaretto. Now, Ralphie, he was only on for a few seasons and also one of Janice's lovers. And I feel like he is an Aries. He's very self-centered. It's all about me, me, me. He beat that girl to death. He left Ro when her son died and she was grieving the son, even though he hired the hit on the kid. So I feel like he is like the negative side of Aries. Me, me, me. It's all about me. And I would put him as an Aries. All right, now let's move on now to the children of the Sopranos, starting with Meadow. Now, I feel that Meadow is definitely a Capricorn. She's serious. She's a serious student. She's very mature for her age. She's career-oriented. She's serious, too, about relationships. She didn't run around with a lot of different guys. She had some serious relationships, career-oriented, definitely going to up the corporate ladder, in a legitimate career. And all that points to me that Meadow is definitely a Capricorn. Okay, moving on to AJ. Now, he was another one that was kind of hard to pin. I was going back and forth with different things, but I settled on him being an Aquarius because he never really quite fit in. He was always kind of a little different, and often that's the Aquariuses in our families. And then later, as he got a little older, he was very concerned about human rights, and he became quite the humanitarian. And I would say that also fits into the sign of Aquarius. Jackie Jr. was also one of Meadow's boyfriend of Meadow, but one of the children of the soprano. And I would say that he was definitely a Libra. He's a pretty boy. He wanted to go into fashion design. He was interested in fashion and clothing. And on the negative side, he was very superficial. He tried to kind of please everybody. When they first started dating Meadow, he was over there cleaning the garage. And, that's all Libra, make everybody happy. And they will, can be on the negative side, they can be a little weak. And I often see them latching on to Capricorns. I see Libras and Capricorns. I know they're both cardinal, but they end up together a lot. They end up together. Yes, so they will end up together a lot. I see a lot of Libra and Capricorns together. And so that's why I feel like Jackie Jr. was definitely a Libra. Now we're going to move on to some of Tony's friends and the more minor characters, but some of them were around quite a bit, starting with Artie Bucco, the restaurateur. I would say definitely Artie's a Cancer all the way. You know, he loves his food, but also he's sensitive and caring and nurturing to people. You know, it's more than just about the food. You know, he's totally a nurturer, totally cares, and also very moody. You know, he can get real crabby and he goes off on his tangents, and that's definitely, I mean, there's hands down, I feel 100% that Artie is a Cancer. And then when Artie's wife Charmaine Bucco, now I feel like she could be a Taurus. You know, she's into the food too, but she's more practical, more down to earth. Definitely a earth sign. I kind of went back and forth with Capricorn and Taurus to her. But the thing that makes me feel like that she's more of a Taurus, you know, the food, obviously, and then being real practical and stable, but also she's honest to a fault. And I find that that is very true with Tauruses. They are honest to a fault. They don't like anything dishonest. They're straightforward. She doesn't want to be involved. She doesn't want any of the perks or be involved with any of the activity with the Soprano family. And she lets him know it, and she stays fixed on that. She's fixed Taurus energy. So with that in mind, I feel like Charmaine is definitely a Taurus. Okay, continuing down the list of friends of the Sopranos, we have come to Rosalia Priel. Now I wasn't sure about her because she's you know, she definitely has got that. I was leaning towards between Aries and Gemini, but I think I finally settled on Aries for her because she's so direct. You know, she just she says what she thinks and that's it. She comes right out with it. And also she's so feisty. You know, she's so feisty. And the third thing that really took it over the edge with because she's funny and witty, you know, and that can be a Gemini. But what took it over the edge to the Aries is how she can't keep a secret. And that's totally an Aries trait. They just can't keep a secret. They have to tell right away. And that's what made me settle on finally that I feel like Rosalie is an Aries. Okay, another family friend is Father Phil, or more of a friend of Carmela's, Father Phil. Now, Father Phil, I feel like he is a Libra because his energy is so soft and he loves to find things in life. You know, he loves the food and the wine and the movies and the arts. And that's all Libra too, you know, kind of on the artistic side and literature and everything and books. But also that he's very, you know, empathetic. And that is totally a Libra trait too. They don't want to hurt people's feelings. They want to be nice to everybody. They want everybody to like them. They want to help everybody. You know, that's a positive side of a Libra. And I feel like Father Phil definitely has those traits. Another person that's outside of the family was Adriana. And I also feel like she's a Libra, you know, because of, you know, she's always the clothes and the clubbing and the socializing, and she's sort of frilly, and you know, she's always, you know, wearing her hair up, all curly haired, and you know, the jewelry and the clothes and everything. And she's also very forgiving too, and has a lot of empathy for Christopher. You know, she forgives him over and over again, and kind of, you know, makes excuses for him. And you know, it is often women that stay in abusive relationships. Libra are one of the highest numbers of women that will stay in bad relationships because they're trying to, you know, find that good in that person. You know, it's their, you know, they're loving to a fault at times. You know, they can be. Okay, so that wraps it up for everybody that I'm going to cover. I know there's some other characters that we didn't get into. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear other people's thoughts about this, whether you agree with me or disagree. You know, let's open up a discussion. So leave your comments below, and remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll talk to you soon.